Klomparens on your left, Ross Merriam on your right. It's Jund, it's Blue Moon, and it's two of the SCG Tour's finest playing for top 8 here in Louisville. Should be a good one to close out the Swiss.
Two very good players, and having an opportunity to see the two cards that just most recently came off the ban list in Modern duke it out here. Nice cherry on top of our Swiss rounds.
Both players take a look at their openers. We'll see if they're happy, and we'll be underway here in just a moment. Let's start it up. An island there for Ross Merriam. Over to Jadine we'll go. Does she have a discard spell to start? It's a Swamp. It's a Thoughtseize. Opt in response here by Ross. He will scry one. That top card will go to the bottom. He'll draw. Picked up another copy of Opt, it appears. I see.
A speculative hand here from Ross. One lander with, I don't know if that was one Opt or.
Well, he just drew an Opt off the Opt.
So no.
So, so the answer would be no. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess against Jund, you just got to keep some hands that look like this.
I mean, mulliganing sucks against them.
But two Cryptics on a one lander. I mean, converting those is going to be tough. Opt. Take his Opt. Okay.
Take his Blood Moon.
Okay.
All right. Ross will draw Serum Visions. He'll start with an Opt. Bottom. Oh, boy. Draw. Whammied. Over to Jadine we'll go. Let's see what her follow-up's going to be. Never fun to mulligan against the discard deck.
Again, I think with one Cryptic and something cheap, you could talk me into it. Two Cryptics. I think that hand's already too close to 5 cards for my taste.
Tarmogoyf here.
And maybe part of the motivation from Jadine's perspective of selecting the Blood Moon there is for creature type purposes. Not like Ross handles large creatures all that well, and getting an enchantment in the graveyard could be really valuable.
Well, Merriam Serum Visioned. He drew a card, didn't find a land. Scried 2, one to the top, one to the bottom. I think I have a feeling what the top card is. If I were to make a guess. Jadine will sacrifice a Verdant Catacombs, get a basic forest. You see the fetching of the basic, or she might get a non-basic in other instances. And she does not want to have to contend with Blood Moon and all. It can play around it pretty well. Tarmogoyf coming in. It's a 4-5 now. Merriam down to 16. Follow-up is a Scavenging Ooze. Over to Ross. That land will enter the battlefield right away. Of course, it's an island. Pass the turn back. Logic Knot and Remand at the ready. Problem here for Ross. No red mana. That's 1, 2. How's he plan on beating these big creatures?
Yep. Classic drew out of it, still dead.
Always a delight.
Needs a mountain to red source of mana to unlock some things, but can't be on a position where he's stalled on one land and then just scries an island to the bottom because the optics are too bad. So
yeah. Here's Dark Confidant. There's Remand. Draw a card. Little update there for you in our backup match. Caleb Shearer wins game 1 over Todd Stevens real fast. Not too surprising.
Yeah, this is another matchup like we saw Todd play against Peter Terbergen with Affinity, where Todd is not a lot going on in game number 1 trying to get it done with the sideboards.
Sulfur Falls will give Merriam some red mana, but is it too late? Already at 10. Has a Lightning Bolt. Would like to Lightning Bolt 2 things here in Dark Confidant and Scavenging Ooze. Probably have to kill Confidant because you just don't really want to have to deal with the card advantage that it'll provide over the course of the game.
And there's nothing really relevant in the graveyard for the Ooze to go after.
There is your Bolt on Dark Confidant. Pass a turn back over to Jadine. She'll draw. Ooze can grow up into a 3/3 now. There's a creature in the graveyard. Tarmogoyf will get a little bit bigger too. It's a 5/6 now. That's a Bloodstained Mire. This is a Bloodbraid Elf. Trigger the Cascade. This game is probably done.
This is a lot of stuff.
Yep. Kolaghan's Command. 2 damage, and who knows what else.
Rebuy the Confidant, I guess. Making him discard, who cares?
He's got a lot of cards in his hand. Doesn't really matter too much.
His hand's confirmed to be awful.
Yeah. So true. Decisions here. I think it'll be 2 damage discard, but we'll get confirmation there from our table spotter. 2 damage return Dark Confidant, the modes that you wanted.
So if all he can do is counter a spell here, I don't think he can get out from under this. Because it's 2 damage or 3 damage, Bloodbraid or the Kolaghan's Command. Jadine has a land left over, so she can grow the ooze.
Yeah, you make Tarmogoyf a little bit smaller.
I guess with the logic. Yeah, with the logic knot, he can get the Blood Moon out of the graveyard. That's something. Maybe squeeze another turn out of this.
Bloodbraid Elf will be countered. Get that back. 4, 5, 6. So that's 4, 5, 6. So Ross could get knocked down to 1 here.
Right, because there's only the 1 creature in the graveyard now, so if Jadine were to pump the ooze, it would just come at the expense of the Tarmogoyf.
Just out here playing in hard mode. Scalding Tarn. Draw a card. Attack step. Cryptic Command. Tap your team, draw a card. And if Jadine has literal anything, the game is over. There's Cryptic. Dark Confidant. All right. We play on. Draw a card. Lightning Bolt. Zzz.
So Ross, we know, has the second Cryptic Command from early on in the game. Can tap and draw again. Don't think he has a land drop to make. And he's going to be on the super defensive with this Cryptic Command because he's at 1. He can't take a hit from anything.
Gonna be a tough one. Merriam looking at bolts and snapcasters. So this is going to be a bolt. It's be interesting. How lucky does Ross have to get here?
Well, I think his plan is bolt, snap bolt on the Confidant.
Hope you don't have a removal spell.
Chump out the Tarmogoyf, and then we'll see what next turn looks like.
Got a removal spell? Pulse. Dead. Got it.
Yep.
Jadine, Klomparens going to win game number 1 here over Ross. Merriam, Jund up a game here over Blue Moon. And these 2 players will go to their sideboards. See what they can bring to the table for game number 2. And we'll examine that in just a minute. are back. Center field is Patrick Sullivan watching Jadine Klomparens playing Jund against Ross Merriam, playing the bluest of moons. We'll start with Ross. This is down a game. 3 thing in the ice, 2 engineered explosives, 2 relic of Progenis, 2 roast, 2 dispel, a ceremonious rejection, negate, and a braid, and an anger of the gods.
Like the negate to fight planeswalkers, like the roasts, and the engineer explosives, and the relics.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I'd get these blood moons out of my deck. That's what I would do.
Probably.
Don't need them. Jadine's going to search for basics anyway.
It just depends how much Ross cares about Raging Ravines on a long game. If he really cares about him, I would leave him in. If it's just there for disruption, I'd let him go.
3 Fulminator Mage, 3 Collective Brutality, 2 Nile Spellbomb, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, a Grim Lava Mancer, and Engineered Explosives, a Damnation, a Liliana the Last Hope, an additional copy of Thoughtseize.
Give me those discard spells, Thoughtseize, 3 copies of Collective Brutality, Planeswalker, and the Nile Spellbombs.
Both players bringing about 6 or 7 cards to the table here.
Yep, quite a bit.
Yeah, no kidding. So we get ready for that here in just a moment. Game number 2 about to be underway here. See if Ross is going to keep his opening hand again. That's what I'll say. A little risky there with the 1-land opt hand.
I think risky's charitable.
I try to be nice.
Okay.
I try to be nice. So I'll call it a loose keep in the biz. A loose keep.
Yeah. Speculative.
That's your word.
Well, I have draw steps plus ops, so how can I miss? There's only so many cards in my deck.
Look, man, mulliganing sucks.
It does.
Even with the scry rule.
And I get you're playing against Jund, you're on the play, so you just mulligan to a hand that's a little light on action, you get hit with a discard spell, and that's just the game. I get it.
Well, as long as you get it.
But I think your hand has to be a little bit lower on the converted mana cost spread to keep a hand that looks like that. You know, but who cares? He would have just lost to something else. You know?
Both players will lay out 7. We'll be underway here in just a moment. These 2 players, a lot of top 8s between them, playing for another one here this weekend. Merriam will start with the Flooded Strand. Now Serum Visions. Draw a card, scry 2. 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Blackleaf Cliffs, Thoughtseize. Let's see what's going on. Let's see a Blood Moon, an Opt, Snapcaster Mage, and a couple of lands.
Probably a Snapcaster Mage. Unless Jadine's hand's very exposed to the Blood Moon.
There goes the Blood Moon. Looks like Snapcaster Mage was the draw. Sulfur Falls past the turn back. Jadine will draw. There's Bob. Put to the test.
Yep.
Here's Opt.
Good way for punishing Ross if he's on a somewhat slower Snapcaster plus cantrip sort of plan.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Merriam found a copy of Roast. Play a Steam Events tapped. Roast the Dark Confidant. He's taking care of problem number 1. Go back over to Jadine. There's Blacklead Cliffs. Now there's Liliana the Veil. Here's Problem.
Yep.
Especially for a blue-red deck. This is a hard card.
Yeah, Ross's deck did not get this card off the table very easily.
Cryptic Command the draw. He discarded his 4th land, so this is going to get tough now. And a plus. Both players will discard Maelstrom Pulse and Cryptic Command. Here's Vendilion Click. Trigger. See who that's going to target. Ross says, I'll target you. Here's Kolaghan's command.
Yeesh.
Yeah, that's max punishment.
Ross is down to 2 cards, and it's just the 2 Snapcasters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bolt and Terminate. Well,
I think that Ross has got to, if he's going to lose his hand at Liliana, he's got to leave her with reactive cards that she can't cast. If you cycle her into a Tarmogoyf or another Planeswalker she gets to put on the battlefield, it's so much worse. Yeah, Ross is just leaving that stuff.
mm-hmm.
The worst thing that can happen here is Klomparens draw stuff that she can just cast.
Ross will play his land, pass the turn back. Liliana going to go up. Merriam will play a Snapcaster Mage in response here, I'm sure. Target is Opt.
Yeah, you can target Opt, but not Opt right away.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to get to his turn with the card from Opt plus his draw step.
Yep. There is Snappy. She'll discard Inquisition. Easy discard there. Bolt and Terminate in hand. Pass the turn back. Now Ross will Opt. That'll become the bottom card. This will be a Terminate.
Jadine showing a lot of respect for Chase the Mind Sculptor here. Trying to keep that bolt in hand. It's also something that she can just cast. Again, the really reactive stuff she got to get away from.
Merriam looks like he picked up a copy of Bolt and Roast. Pass the turn back. Curious to see how Jadine wants to use Liliana here. I think it's safe to just plus bring it to 7.
Depends what her draw step was.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to respect the possibility of Cryptic Command. What you don't want to do is empty out your hand, plus Liliana, and then have Ross bounce the Liliana in response. So she's got to be mindful of that too.
Well, she's going to go for it. See if Merriam will have a response or not. There's your split. And there those go. Tarmogoyf, Dark Confidant, okay? That'll die to a Lightning Bolt. We still got a game here.
Definitely.
There's Desolate Lighthouse. We definitely got a game now. Burning Catacombs pass. Draw a card. Pass the turn back. Jadine with just a Lightning Bolt in hand. She'll pass. Ross has picked up a Jace. Looks like this is going to be an empty battlefield Bloodbraid Elf. A lot of hits here for Jadine. Couple of misses too, of course.
Yeah, I like this play a lot better in the post-board games where she's, I would imagine, cut a lot of her creature removal.
Mm-hmm.
She should be bloodbraiding into a much more proactive selection of cards.
We'll be cascading here in just a moment. Remember, Ross opted to use the Bolt instead of the Roast. Inquisition. We'll show you that Roast along with EE and Jace.
Pretty good spot here. I mean, you take the Roast, and then you have cover for the Mind Sculptor. The Engineer Explosive isn't about anything.
Mm-hmm. In for 3. Ross will draw. Flooded Strand. That's a fetch land.
Yeah, I would guess at this point that Ross is going to have to Lighthouse away the Engineer Explosives and try to set up a better spot for that Jace. Probably just too risky right now.
You said it at the top. Jace versus Bloodbraid.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
We see who's getting the better end of it right now.
If Ross goes for the chase right now, it's a disaster, as we know, because Jadine still with Lightning Bolt left over in her hand.
Oh, Ross knows that too.
Yeah.
From the Vendilion click. He knows that card's there.
Right. So if he's casting the Jace, it's just to brainstorm and move on with life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the plan could be to Fate Seal, simply because it takes up an attack plus the Bolt.
No, I think you got to get Ross's hand is so bad right now. He just needs help.
Okay.
If you're willing to commit the Jace to the battlefield, then I think you just have to be brainstorming here.
Well, it's a very expensive brainstorm, but there it is. Klomparens will draw.
I don't know if I like that play better than just using the Lighthouse. You have a absolutely awful engineered explosives in your hand, so you know up front you have an easy discard, and you aren't that far away from being able to get the Jace on the battlefield. If you answer the Bloodbraid Elf, in theory, the coast is clear.
Mm-hmm. 3 more. Going to knock Merriam down to 11. This would be a good time for that Cryptic command that Merriam has. There's Tarmogoyf. That's a Spell Snare, actually. Pardon me. And now he'll sacrifice the fetch. Going to fall down to 10. Very much in Hidetsu's second right range.
Yes. In the sweet spot.
Yeah, indeed. Now we get a Lighthouse activation, it appears. Ross will draw and discard. Looks like he's drawn Relic of Progenitus. That'll be the discard. Definitely wants access to his graveyard right now, so he'll pass. Bloodbraid. Cascade. Oof.
This is a lot more cards and mana than Jace was.
Yeah. Bloodbraid's coming in.
I think he might have just tapped.
What did he do with it? What did he do with his Cryptic?
Counter and tap,
Okay.
I think.
Yep, he's dead. Jadine Klomparens going to win this match over Ross Merriam 2-0. Jund, too much to overcome.